bullet back from the UK. Yeah, I know, I actually got back last weekend, last Saturday, but it's taken me pretty much a week to get back into the swing of things back home, you know, get back into the work schedule, not even to mention the making videos kind of thing. But I went out for a nice little ride with old Mixie on Sunday, yesterday, which has kind of inspired me to start making these things again. I mean, I never lost my inspiration, but it's always nice to have someone motivating you to go out and do it. And who better than the bearded warrior on the Triumph behind me? Okay, so London and Cape Town. There are so many good things to discuss about London that I think I'll probably be babbling on about it for a good couple of vlogs to come. So this first little one back, I'm just going to mention a couple of comparisons, a couple of things that stood out to me versus living in SA. And I think the most striking thing, apart from the weather of course, they've got such dull sunlight up there. I mean, it's beautiful in its own right, but I mean, that's the first thing I noticed coming back home, is how bright and direct our sunlight is. They just don't have anything like that. But so apart from the weather, what did I notice first when going there? Odd thing to say, but public fucking transport. Their public transport system works. It works really, really well. We never had any issues at all getting from one place to another. And it was quite a shock to the system, because down here, I mean, basic example, when everything works with our train system, you get a train once every 20 minutes in each direction. That's peak time, that's off time, that's not Sundays. Sundays you get it once every hour, if they're running. So, no one bothers. Basically, rule of thumb in South Africa, if you're using public transport, it's because you don't have an alternative. And there's nothing wrong with that. But that is where my mindset of encouraging everyone to have individual transport versus mass transport comes from. I think you can never be as empowered in your life as when you have independent transport. Any country, doesn't matter if we're talking London or anything. So what else? Things are fucking expensive over there. I mean, it's fine if you live there and you're earning pounds, then you have the buying power. But I mean, people always, oh, exchange rate. Exchange rate doesn't mean shit. It's the buying power of your currency that determines if things are expensive or not. And it's two very different concepts. The buying power of the rand is very weak, which is why we get screwed every time we go overseas. Unless we go to something like Thailand, where everyone's a winner. But so, nagging about that aside, things are very expensive there if you're on a South African salary. If you're on a UK salary, the basics are cheap, which is nice. What else? When we went over there, the first couple of days that we were there, we stayed adjacent to Clapham Common, which is an awesome, massive series of fields. I say massive. If you were to run around it, probably be a good 45 minutes, hours worth of running, which is perfect for the suburbanite that likes to go jogging. If you don't like jogging, guess what? There's public exercise machines. That's right, a public gym. I think I counted 3 of them in the park. That's awesome. I mean, that's totally unheard of here. We've got one in Sea Point, which, let's be honest, that's where yuppies hang out. But what I noticed is that South Africans versus Europeans tend to embrace indoor living. So our property prices are relatively cheap. So everyone has a large house compared to UK sizes. Everyone has a large house. And we tend to build our little fortress inside it because of crime and violence the way it is. You tend to fortify your property, window bars, burglar bars, electric fencing, guard dogs, security companies, private security. I mean, it's quite funny speaking to people from other countries about it because they've got no idea. Oh, that's the other thing. On the bus from Heathrow Airport to Rains Park, where we stayed initially, the very first thing about houses that I noticed was that no one has burglar bars. It's just growing up here, it's something that I've taken for granted. Everyone has burglar bars, metal bars on the inside of your windowsill. It's just, you gotta have that. If you don't have that, you're just asking to be broken into. Over there, no one. The occasional alarm system plastered against the wall, but really, that's it. And I must say, safety is absolutely hilarious up there. In comparison, down here, let's say Wynberg Park. I wouldn't go into Wynberg Park any time of the day, much less at night. Whereas in London, we were sitting in the middle of Clapham Common having supper well after dark and felt totally safe. There was absolutely nothing making me wary, and I'm a wary, suspicious bastard by nature. What we're basically doing now on this slightly congested road is we're letting traffic get as far ahead as possible before we set off so that we can actually have some fun in the twisties. This is of course a balance between letting the cars get away and not letting traffic build up too much behind us, which is now happening, so we're off. It's a pity because this really is one of Cape Town's greatest roads, but it's also one of the most congested. A little wide there, Mixie, but still faster than me, so I can't really talk. The other thing with group rides is that you don't really want to be up the ass of the person in front of you in case they've got to take evasive action. It's not a race, it's a ride. I think that's something a lot of beginner riders are often caught out with. So yeah, England, safe. London, the part where we were, safe. We, in the evenings after running our legs off looking at all the sights and going to all the museums, we would often get to see a little bit of the British TV, the cop shows. And it was absolutely hilarious. They would talk about big days out, massive operations, and it basically amounted to them throwing a couple of guys that got too drunk and peeing on buildings and stuff in the back of their vans. The worst was a guy that was assaulted with a road traffic sign, which, I mean, granted, you don't want to be in his shoes, but that's the worst thing they had to deal with. Our cops often don't respond to the bad areas because they are outgunned. It's a very sad state of affairs. But just to put it into perspective, I mean, murders now take the 6th page in our newspapers because it's just not news anymore. Now I'm about to be blinded because I don't have my internal visor down. Visor down! I can never remember these corners. And like I think I've mentioned before, I'm not such a big fan of right-handers. Give me lefties all day long. Oh, that was fun. Yeah, so UK guys, I mean, I'm not even halfway done talking about your awesome country. I mean, especially the country areas that we got to visit were awesome. I'll talk about the tank museum. Visor up! Yeah, so like I said, I'll still talk about your awesome country a bit more later. Now it's riding time. Oh, another little thing that I've made my mind up regarding the channel is the fact that I want to start doing more stuff for beginners. I mean, I'm riding a Ninja 250 and not for too much longer, so what beginners are interested in is beginner bikes and beginner techniques. And before I forget the stuff that was important to me when I started, if that's even possible, it would be a good idea to put it on video for those that need it. I mean, one thing about the motorcycling community that I really love is the fact that everyone is always eager and happy to give advice. Often not the best advice, but you know, it's stuff that's worked for them. And they're always happy to tell you something. So I want to throw my 2 cents into the pot as well. Especially because I've really done a lot of research. You know, you worship Twist the Wrist too. You study the movie as bad as the acting is. It's really good tips that you can pick up in there. So yeah, I've tried to make a how to ride video before and I fucking hated it because it wasn't anywhere near the quality of guys like Blinky Cab. But as I said in that horribly failed video which I never published, I'm not going out to try and rival someone like Blinky Cab or any of those guys. I mean, far from it. I really admire the work they did. I mean, I studied Blinky Cab's videos when I started riding, or even before I started riding, just to give me an idea. The idea is just to put more footage out there on YouTube of the stuff beginners need to know, so they'll be more likely to stumble onto it. And I really like that. I like splitting through traffic. Sorry. That was probably one of my worst runs on this road ever. But that's what cut and paste is for. So guys, all this has gone a long way to say that I'm back. Regular videos will resume or start.